I absolutely adored it, the first movie. When it came out in 2017, it was almost perfect for me. I loved the kids, the whole world that was created, and I was eager to return to Derry to see the finality of this story, to see how they were going to deal with Pennywise this time around. I was so eager, in fact, I went back and reread the book, a book I hadn't read in years, and I think I made a huge mistake in doing that. The book is going to offer so much more information, so many more characters, so many more avenues to explore. That movie just cannot do that. So jumping in to the new Losers Club, as they're all adults, as they're all brought back into Derry to deal with Pennywise, I felt that we just didn't get as much information from them as I first hoped for. In the original It, the first one, we got to spend time with the kids just being kids, just hanging out and having fun. You don't get that here. You get that they're drawn back for a reason, and that is the sole purpose. In the book, you get chances of them like catching up, having fun, having explorations of the town. It's rushed in the movie. It feels uneven the way it tackles its subject, and that's one of the major problems that I had with the new It Chapter 2. I really do love these kid forms of the characters. I really thought they were great. A kind of loss of innocence as they were dealing with this horrific thing that was going on around about them was a terrific addition to the movie. When we move on to the adults, you kind of skip by the whole adulthood, and then you kind of skip by where they are now, and all we have is these echoed resemblance of what they were in the last movie, and that's not enough, because naturally, you know, people are going to evolve and change into something more, or maybe even less, but more complicated individuals, and we just don't get that kind of information about these characters. They feel lesser than their child counterparts, which is one thing that I really was brought down on. It becomes more of a plot-driven tale, where it felt more like an exploration of childhood in the first one. This feels like it has a time scale, it has a finality coming to it, and it's just a case of getting from A to B and how we get there. Now, it changes wildly from the book, which is something that I can understand in the filmatic language. They want to do something a little bit differently. There's some things in the book that just cannot be done here. They stick to it as much as they can, but there's just pieces that they feel left out. It feels as if they're trying to cram in all these little things from the book that are great and nice additions, but that ultimately rob the story of the characters. And then we get Pennywise, who's back again. And even Pennywise doesn't feel as much as a threat as he was in the first one. He doesn't feel as dangerous or as maniacal as he once was. He's lost that edge. And it feels a kind of neutered version of this character. You get far more CGI this time round than we did in the first one, and I feel as if, again, it just looks uncanny. It doesn't look naturalistic. It's a horror movie, and I know things are supposed to be wacky and out there, but it just looks odd to the point of being fake, and I didn't like a lot of the images. Like the mutated grandma, for one, was just, I didn't keen on that. The leper, for another, was another one that I just felt didn't look as good as it possibly could have been. Just felt a little bit more, you know, the more you see something, the kind of less powerful it becomes. You keep things in the shadows, it's obviously more atmospheric and scary. As for the actual tone, it felt up and down. It tried to have moments of levity with Richie Tozer, who's a great performance by Bill Hader, and he nails almost everything. But it neuters that character very much from the book. You know, he has a large part to play in this story, and I was hoping for him to come to the forefront because I really enjoyed the performance, I really enjoyed the character, and I felt he was one of the more well-rounded characters that we had as well. There's certain moments that just feel odd. You know, that when they're having a meal at the Chinese restaurant and they all kind of kick off and say that they want to leave, and then there's the big revelation where they're all going to stay, and then they all want to leave again. It feels like a repetitive scene that doesn't really add anything to the movie. It's a similar scene and similar arguments to something that we've already experienced with these guys, and just feels a little bit odd. Almost instantaneously, they start to remember all these things of their childhood coming back to them, rather than being drip-fed as they slowly start to rediscover these relationships and rediscover the terrors that this town once had for them. It just feels rushed. It's fired onto them. We're given information, we're not shown it. Mike is there as a tool of exposition and large points to fire things onto them. We get to the finale of the movie and it's fairly decent. It gives us closure on what we want. It gives us a nice little epilogue of where everybody has ended up, and it's fun and it's all cheery and happy, but I just feel as if the movie is extremely lacking, and it's lacking with its characterisation. It's lacking with the group of people that we want to see galvanised, that we want to see survive and move on. You even get one of the main antagonists for the first movie, Henry, who's now in Jupiter Hill's psychiatric hospital, who is given such short screen time, who has much bigger effect in the book, and it just feels like an afterthought. It feels like something that's squeezed in there for someone that was so horrific, mean, and just terribly spirited in the first one. It feels, kind of like a wet noodle. It just it's thrown in there to give a little bit of closure, but ultimately it's just unnecessary. I went into it, chapter 2, with the highest of hopes. I wanted that big finale to this masterpiece of a first movie, which I truly do love, and I just never quite got that. Whether it's my own fault for not being able to disassociate from the novel, or whether it's I shouldn't have reread it before the second one came out, it just feels as if it doesn't live up to that material. Whereas the first one sticks solely to that material with a few changes. It takes the heart from the novel and transports it into the book with these great characters. By skipping over all these key points in the second half with the adult Losers Club, we never quite find that same attraction, that same group of people who are just galvanised for an ideal, and we never really get that back. So ultimately you have these characters that you're not really invested with, other than an echo of a previous movie, and that's not good enough, not these days. I wanted to love it more than I did. I still think it's a decent enough movie, average, probably a 3 out of 5, but I would love to know your thoughts on it, chapter 2. Let me know in the comment box below what you thought of it, and I'll see you next time on Man vs Film.